Good evening, welcome to the Public Safety Building Committee meeting. This meeting is being recorded for a cablecast YouTube presentation by Area 58 Community Access Media. The video of this meeting is not to be considered an official public record.
Okay. We've made some pretty good progress in 2 weeks, and the design is making progress too. And I want to emphasize the design is really working hard on this to get there. He understands we have to get there. We're committed to getting there, and we think we're going to get there. A couple things that we looked at, Fogarty's estimates on his last few jobs have all been 100, 150,000 higher than the actual bids. So getting down to 2.25 is not as critical to us as getting down to 2.3, 2.5, which we're not there yet. Today we're at 2,508,000. We've got a couple 100,000 more to go. And that's without sacrificing any space, without sacrificing any of the plan, nothing. That's just, instead of quarry tile in the kitchen, vinyl tile. You know, if there was a built-in that's not needed, we took the built-in out, and it'll have to be furniture. I'm sorry, I only brought two. I only brought two.
You want to show
It's
us?
just a mocked-up thing that I was gonna walk through with you. The majority of the money's coming from site, electric, and finishes. All right? The site plan that was originally drawn is way too much. I brought it with me. You have it. You saw all the underground caverns they wanted to put in, and we just can't get there. I mean, it's just too much money. We came up with an alternative to it, which I do want to hand out, which is the same thing, it's just instead of being subsurface, we're putting in a retention basin behind the building instead of putting it underground under the parking lot. You understand contour lines? So that's the first one, it just flows in like gravity. Right? We eliminated curbs, we eliminated light poles, things like that on the site. Hey, you know what,
Again, that needs more clearing then?
needs more clearing. And we want to do the clearing separately from the general contractor, because we think we can get a lot cheaper locally, and we think we can do it without having to bid it, because it won't exceed the amounts if we do it locally. So, and that'll reduce even more what we have here, all right? But we had wood wall base everywhere, we're gonna go with rubber wall base instead of wood wall base. We had a lot of wood trim, we have FRP panel in the janitor's closets, we're not gonna have FRP panel in the janitor's closet. Things like that, we're scrubbing out of every room, right? We had adjustable shelving everywhere, we're eliminating the adjustable shelving, right? We had built-in display cases, we eliminated built-in display cases. If you want to display your stuff, you're just gonna have to have a case and put it against the wall.
So there was wood trim all over the place in there?
Wood base.
Why would it be any different than what we have in here? Just the,
That's wood base.
That's wood base?
That's metal, that's a metal frame,
Yeah.
but that's wood base, I'm talking about base.
Well, what's out in the hall is that rubber.
Out in the hallways, the rubber. So we went from this
Yeah, but
to that. And
I'm kind of surprised why it was in there to begin with.
because we were trying to do it right out of the get-go, and we thought we were cheap enough not to be so bare bones that we were trying to make it perfect.
And it's cheaper to put down vinyl tile than just polish the floor?
Is it cheaper to what?
Put down vinyl tile and just polish the floor?
polished concrete.
You see it a lot now, and
I know you do. The problem with polished concrete on public jobs is you just don't get the quality in getting them to go to rip it out and fix it. It looks like hell. I mean, the cost of doing the vinyl tile is not breaking the bank.
and it will stay down,
Oh, yeah.
because we seem to have in all of the buildings, some issues with tiles staying down. Here
Yeah.
in school.
I haven't had problems in any of my jobs,
Great.
right? But then again, that's again something we can deal with later. The exterior. We looked at going from hardy plank to wood. They're relatively the same cost. We looked at going to pressed vinyl shingles that you see on new houses today. We saved $45,000. So we're looking at that. Instead of having wood interior windows, vinyl or aluminum clad on the outside, we're going with vinyl complete, vinyl in and out. Same R values, just different window.
Instead of going with wood doors, we're gonna go with straw.
No, we're going
mud and
with
straw.
Or cardboard. No, I'm just kidding with you.
That's it, yeah. Right. Talked about the tiles.
What's the cost difference on vinyl windows versus clad windows? Vinyl, 'cause I know they have ones that are vinyl interior, clad out exterior. Just ballpark, I'm just curious.
Let me get back to that. 20,000, we said. Same look, just a slightly different window. Right? And everything we're talking about can be added. Right, so we can do an add alternate.
And we can also do bid alternates for.
Right, add alternates, right. So we can do that. And then you'll prioritize what you want first. If windows are first, we go to windows. If you want to. We eliminated the exterior painting because we're going with the vinyl pressed siding. That was 14,800.
No changes to the trim.
No changes to the upper trim, changes to the corner boards.
Also, we're going to do vinyl corner
You got vinyl corner boards. Don't.
It just doesn't last.
That's my concern with vinyl windows. Your maintenance costs go up after 5 to 10 years.
Okay. Well, we'll let you get it.
I'm giving you-
We'll let you get it where it
Let
needs to be.
me get it to where it is, and we'll add back in, all right? We eliminated the sign, we eliminated some motorized drop-down screens. Huh?
Did we order those?
No, we were trying to make it, you know, make the meeting room function one meetings.
No,
I see.
You're gonna have a drop down like you used to have.
When you say we eliminated, you make it sound like we ordered it.
No.
Maybe we'll come from a grant.
No, that makes
Right.
sense.
We simplified lighting controls. We eliminated a centralized UPS. We didn't eliminate the UPS, which can have smaller UPSs as opposed to a centralized UPS. We eliminated some floor boxes.
When did we get a copy of the plans?
Just finish eliminating
I actually sent a copy, didn't I send a copy of the plans electronically to you, no? Are you sure when we went to estimate?
No,
All right, I'll send a copy of your
I'm
plans.
lucky I get the agenda.
I will
Yeah.
send you I will send you a copy of the plans, right?
What did we eliminate electrically?
Electrically, there's a whole bunch of little items that were eliminated, and they looked at how they were specifying all of the materials, and electrical went down to, minus 77, minus 45, minus 6850, minus 27,728. Electric went from 623 to 328. Most of it shouldn't have been in there in the first place.
I know, I'm dying to see what it was.
I get it.
That's why I didn't get it.
You don't have enough information, I got it. You want me to make plans for everybody? I'll be happy to do so.
I don't want all the other codes to go, I'll just take the electric ones, if we can just isolate those
Okay.
pages
Oh,
out.
some people like that.
Yeah.
Can you blow PDFs up on your computer?
Absolutely.
We'll send you the
And
PDFs.
blow up everything.
General conditions goes down because the base building cost goes from 2.7 to 2.3. We added $100,000 for the soil conditions, based on the geotech that we did. So, that wasn't in this. So, we're right now at it says 2,617. When you do the math, it's 2,590 something,
Where are we with the subsurface storage location area?
behind the building, but not subsurface.
There's no basement?
No basement. Didn't work out, we did the math.
Well,
We tried. You end up having to add a whole bunch of structural elements on the floor
yeah.
and adding a slab. It doesn't end up working out. And it's just not worth, we don't have it.
Well, the slab's being done anyway. I mean, even with the slab.
Yeah, of course.
You're still pouring the slab. How much would the difference have been? I mean,
I don't recall. Once it went the other way, till we get to where we gotta go, we just said, forget it.
so we gotta dig it out?
We still haven't, let me tell you where we haven't fully purged. We still have a pretty high framing number. We still have an outrageous HVAC number as far as I'm concerned. Would you agree?
Yeah, the plan's a little excessive.
Now, understand that it is a commercial.
It's a commercial system. yeah.
It's a commercial system in a commercial building, in a building that has to have a little more than your average commercial building. So even the framing's a little bit more. A lot of the walls on the inside are shear walls, so that if there's a hurricane event, he doesn't lose his station. So he has to always be up and running. All right, so there's a little more to that, but it's only plywood on walls and a couple extra bolts in the slab. It's not like the end of the world. But the same codes hit HVAC and hit electrical, and that's why some of those went up. They clearly overspecified the electrical. Everyone admits it, even the electrical engineer admitted it, and we've got that to come down.
Almost
We had
in half.
Huh?
Almost in
Yeah.
half, right?
And that's not sacrificing anything that you need, okay? That's meeting all the codes, LED lighting, everything's still the way it should be in a brand-new building, right? HVAC I'm not done with. I just had one conference call with the engineer, and it didn't go well. That's all I can say is it didn't go well, all right? Structural, we're not there with the structural engineer yet either. Civil, I think you'll see the new plan, it's about as basic can get. And we think we're gonna get this thing down to 2.3 and a half.
How much is
Which would be enough to-
What's the
which would be
HVAC
enough.
right now?
HVAC's at 218, I think.
What are you trying to get it down to roughly?
It really depends on how far we can go.
Because eliminating some of the HVAC is gonna eliminate some electrical, and it's a trickle-down effect. But-
No, the tonnage is
I don't know what Ross is
the
looking
tonnage,
at.
the tonnage is gonna stay the same.
Yeah,
I don't think your electrical load's gonna go down.
No.
no, not the electrical, but the control work.
Well, the controls, are pretty simplistic right now. I think he's got 18,000 for controls, which is a lot better than what it was when they originally proposed, you know.
Gazillions.
Well, they proposed like a control system that was controlled by the space station, and then you had to call up to get your temperatures
I
changed.
wanted to go up into space to control it too, that upsets
Right.
me.
All of the, cells are still blocked, cells are still got all the things they need, attention areas, it hasn't been changed. All that is exactly what would pass public safety, right? We're trying to also try to eliminate some filed sub-bids by getting their trade scopes down a little bit. All right, so the more we can eliminate filed sub-bid trades, the better this is gonna be. And I know that's hard to
Like you
explain.
said, painting.
Yeah, painting, painting's pretty close right now. Masonry is pretty close right now. So we're trying to find a way to get the original estimates under the prerequisite number for the state, which I think is either 20 or 25,000. So if we estimate it's over 25,000, it has to be a file sub-bid. And we don't want, if we can eliminate file sub-bidders, we want to eliminate file sub-bidders because it's just throwing money away. Right?
Is there a generator
There is a generator.
Purchase.
Generator's not that expensive, it's like 30,000.
to purchase, and that's ours, or we leasing?
Oh, well, you're buying the generator.
I guess I would go with the lease option on that also.
Well,
Possibly, I mean, if we're really gonna nit and pick,
I don't think we're there yet.
no,
I don't think we're there yet. And we're still tracking, you know, if we do what we think we can do in the next 2 weeks, we're still tracking, so schedule-wise, we're putting this thing up to bid in the next month and a half. So we're not losing schedule, we're just losing hair and blood pressure as I go through this process with the designers. And I'm sorry to say that, but it's been pretty brutal. I didn't expect GGD to just ignore us and design something so incredibly complicated. I mean, they have separate fresh air and separate supply and returns on every single room, I think, if I read it right. You know, that should all be combined in one unit. And, you know, we did ask for smaller units, so we'd have redundancy in the building in case one unit went down. But the cost of the units isn't the problem. I mean, the ductwork, I mean, we'll just look at the ductwork.
10
I mean, this is-
10% more ductwork than there needs to be. And it's all in terms of the size. You get smaller ductwork, the price per.
I told him I wanted to video Ross in the meeting when I pulled that plan out, so that Ross could go after the engineer. So, we're getting there. I mean, we got almost 600,000 out of it. And I don't think we've really sacrificed much. I mean, I know the windows hurt, I know the siding hurts, but the building size and the program's there, and we're not quite there yet. So structure's next, and HVAC's next. We took a first pass on plumbing, and we probably saved a little out of plumbing, but not much, because in Massachusetts, as you know, once you go commercial, everything has to be cast iron.
It's crazy.
We're the only state in the union that does cast iron flooring.
And
If it was a house, it would be
20 years,
plastic, it
we're
would
gonna have
cost
to
10
replace
grand
it
for the whole
because it's all
building.
rotted
We're gonna
away.
spend 60. And lead and oakum the joints. Alright?
Well, that's a plumber for you. I've been a young electrician, it's not that we don't get along, it's just that, you know, they're crazy. Stop yelling at these people, Dan, we need their numbers to come down.
It's not that, if you look at the number of diffusers that are like 20 CFMs and 30, 40 CFMs, that's almost like no air. I mean, it's just a lot of time, so I'd rather see one in a room and you have a little noise than have a super quiet building with,
What is his tolerance on commissioning? Because some of these,
yeah.
we're not gonna end up paying him at all, because they're not gonna make standards. They're just not.
Thank you.
If he wants to know, I'll stand there and watch him do the test, because this is not gonna, this section over here, the back section, is gonna be hard to get right.
How
The
about
way
the
he's
fresh
going.
air going out, turn around and come back?
Yeah, there's, The length of the building
Yeah.
is ridiculous.
It's not a big building.
No, because he's got a long.
Look at the
line.
size of the ducts, they're all 8x10s and small little ductwork. I mean, there's just a ton of it.
It's a little,
So, we know we gotta do some work on that, they know we gotta do some work on that. I can honestly say, Context has been unbelievably cooperative. Like, beyond cooperative. They want this to be a success too, and believe me, when he was like this, will you look at this kind of siding? Because he's an architect, he doesn't want the siding for the same reason you don't want the siding. But he wants the project to be a success, and he understands where we are, and we're gonna go right back at it tomorrow.
Is this something that's normal, or are we just lucky that we have Ross on the committee to be able to tell us that,
No, I wouldn't have accepted, I don't accept that.
I mean, are you having your own people in your office look at some of this?
I haven't gone to that length yet,
Yeah,
I don't have to,
you know, we're.
because I know it's wrong.
Well, when you said 600 and something thousand for electrical, I almost, but I was happy because I was gonna get a piece
You
of
got a
that.
copy of it, you listen, you say you don't get the information, I gave you a copy of this, everything was identified in
Yeah, I know. I don't-
and everything is in here, or in the narrative, right, so,
Yeah, I did, I mean, I did look at the narrative. The plan, I mean, the plans tell me more than the narrative, unfortunately. I mean, just being able to look at
this is,
that.
this is a 6,000 square foot house
Yeah.
chopped up into a lot of little
I
rooms.
know.
There's a little expense to chop it up into a lot of little rooms, but not $1 million,
No.
$2 million. So we,
Prevailing wage.
prevailing wage is part of it, but that's not all of it.
No.
I mean, that's not prevailing wage problem, that's a design problem. All right, the original electricals was, same firm, by the way, doing electrical and mechanical. And the electrical engineers already admitted he treated it like it was, you know, City of Boston substation D. So, you know, we're gonna get there, and I'm sorry I have to come here and get your blood pressure up, but I've always been open and transparent with you guys, and I want you to know what's going on. This is what's going on, right?
I have two.
You guys wanna fire me so I don't have to be on the job anymore?
No, I wouldn't do something like this to you. Sorry. I guess two thoughts. One, with the exterior of the building, I mean, I know we've been going down the path of sort of traditional look. I would just appreciate asking context, are there some other things that could be done that maybe aren't traditional, but could be interesting? You know what I mean? I drove by a building today that.
They take
had a bunch of different sidings on it.
they take the direction of this committee serious,
Yeah.
and the committee was pretty straightforward with that. We want a traditional looking building.
Right. But, I mean, not fundamentally changing design, but are there other alternatives just that should be thought of and considered? I mean, do you know what I mean? There's all sorts of stuff
Of
that's
course.
going on. I mean, all you do is go to the Seaport District right now, and there's all sorts of interesting uses of materials.
Metal panels, stone
So,
panels, all sorts of stuff.
I'm just sort of tossing that.
I don't think you're gonna get anything that I'm aware of that
It's gonna be
exists
cheaper than
that's
vinyl.
cheaper than a vinyl siding or even hardy plank. Hardy plank is like,
there's some interesting, there's a company that will pre-finish a lot of material like hardy plank.
yeah, we were planning on pre-finished hardy plank
Yeah,
and just painting the trim boards. Because you know what happens when you paint the trim, if you don't paint the trim boards, it looks great, but after five or 6 years, when the joints pull a little, if they haven't been caulked and painted, they sometimes look like hell, so we're trying it.
Even
The nail holes.
and it also doesn't hold off mildew and
Right.
stuff as well. The paint does much better.
Agreed.
Yeah.
You'll have green streaks on it.
Yeah. And then the other question about this, I assume that by just doing that part of the parking lot, that doesn't, you could go back and do the full design that they have.
Yeah,
Not
you
today, but
can
at a later
always
point.
go back and do more.
Well, because we wouldn't, I mean, because this, to me right now, and I understand the need, but this to me right now looks like a repeat of the other side. You know, it's a mismatched mess. And we have to get the building built, and I'm not against that, but I would think that when this building is done, there is going to be a need to go back to the town for a separate project to put the driveway in and finish that. So that needs to be, you know, and I've been talking about this for years, and I'm sure most of the community is tired of doing it, is that anything we do should be done
Done right.
forward, done correctly, and then if we need to do the next, and break it into a phase and do a later phase, that we're not doing anything here that prevents, that, you know, we're not redoing any of the work that's done.
Just a quick glance shows that we're not going to have adequate parking is what's going to keep the existing parking that we have.
Well, I
We'd
think,
have to move the parking from that, and I think we'd be striped against the
yeah, I think we can do
wall.
some clever restriping of the existing
And along, but-
and solve some of the issues.
But it wouldn't be ideal.
Right.
I mean, it would be pretty much, we wouldn't be really adding parking in any measurable amount. You would be just shifting your parking down a little bit. In other words, you wouldn't use any of the parking out here that the police department uses
Right.
now for the couple of spots and things. It would just sort of be a shift until you redo the other piece.
You're right on everything you said, I just don't have the budget there yet.
And
I have to get
I'm
it.
not saying, I'm just trying to make sure that with what we're doing, it just pretty much breaks into another phase, this piece of the parking lot and the driveway. I mean, that's,
I mean, what I'm hoping is we can get the budget down to 2, 3, 5 or so from the professional estimating point of view.
Front down from the 33198.
Right, and that the bids come in around 2, 2. That's really where I'm hoping this all shakes out. And if that occurs, we're in good shape.
right.
There are some sacrifices that will have to be made, but we will have honored the pledge if we said at town meeting, and I take the vote of town meeting serious. And when we said we were going to build a police station, 6,000 square feet, we said we'd connect to 58 if we could. All right, I mean, I don't want to, if we get to a point where we're not delivering what we voted on, then I think we should go back to the board of selectmen and explain to them the difficulties we're having. And I really don't think we're gonna know that until the bid comes in.
Yep.
Because the bids could come in, right now, there's not a lot bidding for some reason. It just seems like there's a lull, and I happen to think we're gonna hit it okay and do better than we expect on the bidding. But we are definitely seeing sharp increases in wood, gypsum, vinyl, asphalt shingles, anything related to a hurricane, we're seeing sharp increases. So I think that we have to, we're fortunate that it's a small building and those materials, even if they double, aren't croaking us. It's gonna go back to prevailing wage, how many files of bidders we get, and us literally scrubbing every little thing out of this building that we can.
What
like
should we
you've done
say
that
on
most
site?
We're getting there, we're getting there. I've got a few more trades to go, it just takes a lot of time to go through every nut and bolt.
So we pulled painting from all the outside trim already?
Well, the chief talked at one point of saying, the prisoners committed paint.
That was
You
my.
know, and I'm wondering if we can get Joe to commit to that and not have any painting. So, I mean, those are things that I think we can look at if we don't get there.
Because if we have the AZAC or whatever composite we use, we could leave that up and say, yes, that's completed for the project without paint, and then have
Paint.
prisoner labor come in and paint it.
Right.
Another point.
And it can be up for a year.
And that can be written into the spec too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We'll
So,
tweak
contractors
that.
shall vacate the building for a week so that painting can be done by, Plymouth County House of Corrections.
How much did you cut off of the site work itself by reducing it down to this?
Site work, believe it or not, we added 32,000 for additional cuts to build the pond. We added 1,600 to relocate some soil. We added 96,000 for the fill underneath the building, 5 feet of structural fill. We added an additional 2,800 feet of silk fence that Concom's gonna want, whether they know it or not. An additional 5,400 square feet of fencing. Then we took out $7,000 worth of parking, bituminous parking, we're gonna leave the existing, right up to it. We took out $22,000 in drive parking, which was the drive coming all the way around to where the other side of this building. We took out $6,826 in concrete walkways. We took out 6,200 gravel bases under the driveway. We got rid of some bollards. We got rid of 2 side benches, cast iron benches that are in front of the building. We got rid of trash receptacles, some outdoor plumbing allowances. We got rid of a $96,000, $640 worth of subsurface drainage, $14,000 worth of 12-inch site drainage line because we got less. We eliminated the transformer pad because we think we can get the power direct over to a pole. And a light pole, and 2 light poles and 2 light pole bases for $13,000 on the site.
So it didn't affect,
In all the landscaping. All we're gonna do is hydro seed.
it didn't affect the septic tank or having
No.
to relocate? or
No, we have to keep all that in.
plans for that?
That's not gonna change.
Okay,
And so we're
I
gonna,
mean, that's I can't get around that.
yeah.
I can't get around, egress doors, I can't get around, R values, I can't get around a lot of things.
So as far as the future entrance goes, we're not gonna get any surprises when we need to go and do that. It's still gonna be exactly the same.
Well, we talked about designing it as an alternate, believe it or not.
Yeah.
We say the bids came in 100,000 less, and we got an alternate to put it in for 80. We did talk about it.
Yeah,
We didn't conclude that discussion, but they want to design that. So they are not, they feel as though that's a need too.
yeah.
So with the recontouring in the back, will parking back there be possible in the future? Or is that now completely eliminated?
That is completely eliminated.
and do we still have room to put a driveway in for the fire station if that's ever decided to be done?
Yes, you could go on the north side.
He was talking about down here.
You're only cutting the grade a foot by the stone wall, or to the left of the stone wall.
So the fire can sort of.
Yeah, fire could come in here, or fire could come out here. And that's not a big grade change.
Not sure.
How much parking have we added? Not much.
Very
We
little.
added
708 spaces.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 spaces, and 2 if you want to park in front of the
No,
lot.
you're gonna lose some, so I'm not sure we're allowed, but that's not really the point. It just didn't, we got rid of a bunch of stuff there that you were going through, but it seemed like the bigger items we were getting rid of was the underground drainage and some, and other materials on a couple benches and stuff, but,
We also moved the building we moved the building about 10 feet to the rear, because it's flattest at that point, and the amount of digging and filling is the least.
Same as that, but you moved it since our last meeting?
Yes,
Okay.
10 feet closer to the burn?
10 feet further away from Route 58.
Do we have to test the...
We had them at the same facades at the same level. All the tests came up pretty much the same.
I do think, Dan, that we would want to know what the number is to do the parking and sidewalk as designed, X benches and trash cans and stuff like that we clearly don't need. I would be, I would think that that would be one thing that would be, that we'd want to alternate. At least to know that number.
Well, we know the number, it's in here.
No, I know, but just,
Do you want me to, for the next meeting, do you want me to bring a list of alternates, things, and maybe you guys, if you guys can send me emails on things that aggravate me, like, hey, I think windows are number one, I think siding is number one, I think going to 58 is number one, I think a basement's number
I
one.
mean, I think going to 58 is high, but I think that we recognized even before we went to town meeting that that was an optional. So, I mean, I think that there seems to, that there's a lot more on our list now.
Oh, really?
You know what I mean?
We want
So,
a lot just
I mean,
tonight.
I don't think there's anything disingenuous or at all about going back after the station was built and we delivered on what we promised to say, now we need to do the driveway. Because you don't know how big a bread box that is even.
No, but I do think we should get them to design it.
Yeah.
That would be, yeah, because that would make it an easier project in the future to be able to go at the appropriate time.
Because we'll already have the design too.
Correct, and you should have some rough idea of numbers. that you
Yeah,
to
we will have a
do.
rough idea what the cost is, even if we got an outlet on it.
Yeah,
Say we make it outlet 10, we know we're never gonna get
Yeah.
to it, but if,
no, that's great.
well, at least, we'll at least be able to stand up at town meeting, look town meeting in the eye and say, well, we know it's worth $89,123, because we're all going to town on the pay for it.
Fine.
Probably a little more than that, because
Yeah, but-
it's done in conjunction with all that
True.
stuff, so.
That's true, but I mean, you know what I'm saying. You
How
wanna
big a
get
bread box, you know? How big is it? That's, you always need that rough idea, and it's always gonna be more.
I think we're almost there.
Yeah.
All right, and I know it's not perfect, and I know you're probably all unhappy, and you probably all wish you hired Vertex, but I can tell you,
Yeah.
I can tell you that a lot of effort by your designer and your OPM has gone into trying to get this to work, and we're not there yet, and
What you
I
just,
wish we had an additional 500,000.
can we beat down the engineering? Get that number down for the HVAC?
I
This
think,
this can come down,
there's no question that could come
it's just a
down.
matter of how much. Is it 10 grand or is it 40 grand?
Well,
Or
electrical,
is
they
it
cut
50
off,
grand?
they cut off 300,000 from electrical.
What would you charge to do a 6,000-foot building commercial?
Well, I don't install, I just test. But I see everything. So this is way more, even in a commercial building, this is more ductwork and more larger ductwork than is needed.
Dan, I mean, I just don't-
I just to level set, I mean, numbers are what the numbers are as long as they're correct. And this needs to be correct, because if it's not correct, we're gonna go out to bid, and we're gonna have
And what-
3.4 million, and then we can't build anything. So, I mean, I
If
don't
the
think any
numbers
of
come
us
in,
are upset.
I honestly believe if the numbers come in at 2.4 million, we'll find a way to get this done. Okay? I believe that wholeheartedly. We have 2.175 in there, we have 100,000 in there for contingency, we have generous numbers in some other line items. I think we can afford, the OPM can, do 1 day a week visits instead of every day. I mean, there's a lot of things, I think, and I'm sacrificing myself, I can't sacrifice the architect, but I think there are things that we can reduce that can get us there at 2.4. If it's beyond 2.4, I think we're gonna have a problem with the town accountant certifying that the funds are available. And that's where I don't want to get.
But what I'm trying to say is I don't think anyone's, I mean, we'd all like you to come back and say, oh, it's only gonna cost you 1.8, we can add everything else you
I
like.
won't do that.
But the numbers are what the numbers are, and they need to be there. And if it costs, $320,000 for electrical, it costs $320,000 for electrical. I mean, we have to build the building and build it right. So I don't think people are, I'm certainly not upset about that. I'd like them to be different, but we all have wishes in life that don't come true. So, I appreciate all the work that you're doing with this, and that, that hopefully we end up with a really good estimate so that we don't have any surprises.
This is paper. It's a guidance paper.
Right.
The ultimate estimate is the bid. I mean, I hate to say it, but
Yeah.
we live in a chapter 149 land that I have to get to, and which brings me to my next phase of my conversation.
Oh, this wasn't all the fun?
No, this is all the fun for
I
tonight.
got one more question.
I'm sorry.
I mean, to me, it looks like you moved the building back 10 feet, and now it looks like it's not perpendicular to the original structure. You know what I mean? What, I mean, originally it was straighter.
Yeah, it's gonna be the same plane as the face of the townhouse.
It's the same.
It is exactly the same, is that what we?
I don't know if it's exact, but it's pretty close. It looks like the driveway's off, not the building.
Actually, I think if you step back a little bit, will be better. Because it's going, because I mean, the police station's a big building compared to the townhouse.
Well,
And
The point in moving it back is because of the levelness of the
Right.
property out there. We already know what it's gonna cost to remove the.
Right.
$30 a yard just for the structural fill, what you're putting in, not even taking out.
You put more than 10 yards in.
I tried to make it 10. I even called him. I even called the geotech to say,
I mean, it's
really,
pretty
can we
flat.
not get away with
I
it?
don't understand why
No, it's gotta go, it's too,
And that's
too
taking
organic.
this, the driveway and turning it and moving it further down the street rather than straight up. I gotta look at the other plan,
Yeah, but you
see what the
do,
difference is.
when you start to deal with the hill,
Yeah, I know.
and if you go too far down,
Then we're down
we can
on
get
it,
the budget
rather
resolved in
further
2
up now,
weeks.
you know what I mean? It just seems like it got kicked to this way rather than,
Which means we'll
Yeah,
have
always
it
take
back.
out that tree.
And
Yeah.
6 weeks of practice time.
it just seems,
Maybe closer to this.
sometime around
yeah, this way is fine.
That's what it-
mid-December.
You mentioned initially about the removal of the extra trees and everything.
Mhm.
What was your thought on that?
Well, just like we talked about trying to save a little money with the painting, I think if we can get the tree removal out of the job and show the tree line here, I think we'll save a little money there too. Because the general contractor's just gonna bid it out and he's going to mark it up. And if we can start eliminating little things like that, it's gonna help that total number on the site.
So what you're saying is that we as a town should initiate.
Yeah, we as a town, what I would do is I'd put together I would go out and flag where the tree line's going to be, and we would then, you know, solicit bids, 'cause it should be under the 25,000, that's, requires you to do a complete set of documents. If we can do that, I think we're in good shape.
Who burns wood in here?
It doesn't burn with
All right,
All right, can I go to my next phase? Are you-
you're going to anyways.
Any more questions? All right, so one of the things that I have to do in conjunction with the designer is put together what we call the front end. And the front end of the spec book is about that thick. Most of it's boilerplate. I guess what I need from you is permission to talk to your town council. Do you have Copeland?
Yeah.
Copeland has a wonderful, what's called the supplemental general conditions. So they'll recommend a certain AIA document for the construction document, and we'll insert their supplemental conditions behind it, which wipes out all of the things in the contract that are bad for the town. So they've been doing this for many years, and they keep up to date with it. So we're gonna want to get from Copeland and Page their supplemental conditions for the front end, so that when we then turn around and send them the bid documents, they're just gonna stamp it and approve it. Because they have to approve it to form.
So it's a supplemental conditions for the front end.
Conditions.
Yeah, you just give me whoever I can talk to there, I'll take it from there, if that's
Okay.
all right.
we meet Monday night, I should just bring it before the board and I can get back to you Tuesday.
Just send me an email.
Any idea number of hours involved in that?
I can't imagine it's gonna take more than an hour to go to their server and pull it out and send it to me. But it is Coleman and Page, it might be 1.2.
No, I'm sure they'll have a template down there and probably the hardest part is finding it.
No, they're pretty good about it.
That's it.
They're pretty good about it. You know how they are. They're like, it's like McDonald's. You go up and you hit the menu and you get what you want. That's kind of important to me. I'm gonna need, maybe Colleen, you can send me over who the bids are going to. Now that you have a town administrator, do you want everything to be addressed to the town administrator? Do you want it to be addressed to?
She's not here yet, won't be here till mid-November, late
November
November.
27th?
Yeah.
Oh,
We don't want to.
let's have the bid due for 27. Welcome to Plympton. But, you know, those type of things I need to know, addresses, things like that. I'll also need to know who your insurance carrier is it Maya? All right, so I'm gonna call Maya and get recommendations on insurance requirements for the project also. We'll insert Maya's insurance sheet to the front end. So these are things that we're gonna be working on for that. The book's gonna be this thick for this project. I mean, you're gonna understand what things cost a lot of money in Massachusetts. It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Every second detail about every piece that's going in here is in that damn.
Right, because the file submitters are professionals that say, well, you didn't detail the screw properly. You said it was going to be a flathead, and we brought a flathead screwdriver to work today, not a Phillips. And it came as a Phillips. So we need a change order. So that's the kind of stuff we're gonna be dealing with once we get to construction. All right?
So for the bids, assuming that we're gonna do that either before the 27th and that we don't wanna, plop everything in front of her the day she gets here.
The bids won't be in until mid-December, but they need to go somewhere. So someone has to receive the bids, stamp them in. I can walk through the secretary that's taken them in, what her responsibilities are. We're gonna take bids twice. We're gonna take file sub bids 2 weeks before the general bids. Okay, so when the file sub bids come in, we open them, we read them, we tabulate them, we then publish them. Okay, and then the general contractors take those lists and choose who they want in their general bid, so that when we open the general bids, it'll say so-and-so and so, and we carry X on electrical, Y on HVAC, Z on this, and so on.
Can I agree?
Right, so you give me all that information, and we'll make sure that it's bulletproof, because the biggest risk on this project is the design. The second biggest risk on this project is the bid. And the last risk is the construction. So we're right now in the middle of the first risk. It ain't going so well, but we're gonna clean it up and get it right. I wanna make sure that the bid goes perfect. So, we can expect we'll have a protest. It's not uncommon to have a protest. In other words, bidder B, who's $2,000 higher than bidder A, notices that bidder A didn't put an apostrophe on page 16 and complains to the Attorney General. The Attorney General then has to have a hearing, and so on and so forth. So you can expect things like that to occur. You don't expect we'll have anything that'll delay the construction at all.
This is Plympton, you rolled on that too.
I hear this in every town, you don't understand
Yeah.
it. This is
Yeah,
Greenfield.
protesters,
You don't understand
carry on.
yet, this is Monterey. I'm gonna tell you a really cool story. Right? So 3 days ago, I'm in Monterey, all right, which is a little town in western Mass, and they're doing a library. All right, so they got a grant to do a library, a little $3 million library, all right? The law is you have to have a temporary library when you build your library. So they said, no problem, Dan. Don't carry too much money. We're going to put it in the schoolhouse. I said, okay. We put in $25,000 to move into the schoolhouse, $25,000 to move out of the schoolhouse. So finally I said, look, I want to take a look at the schoolhouse. I'm trying to get going on the move and this, that, and the other thing. And they said, no problem. We can walk there. I go, what do you mean we can walk there? I've been in and out of this town for a year now. So they walk me up 500 yards, and on the left is a wooden schoolhouse that was built in 1880 on flagstone with sagging beams, okay? 16 steps to get to the front door. I looked at him like, you can't occupy this place for a temporary, it doesn't mean ADA. The books will collapse the place, all right? And they're all really proud of this library because they all went there. They all went to this school as kids, so they think of it as, you know, the best place in the world. I couldn't believe it. I drove home going, oh my God, I am not in Kansas anymore. So,
That's all I'm gonna ask UMass how it works when you put books in your
but you know
building.
what? That's the simple living they live out there. They work there in their minds, it would have been fine. You know, put the books on the perimeter on top of the stone wall, we'll be fine. So, needless to say, we're taking the fire chief's office and the fire station, which was built in 2015 and is a modern building. But it was a fun exercise. So, we'll get there on this. I'm sorry that I continually bring you bad news, but we're half bad right now, right? I gotta get 300,000 more out of this thing.
You'll do it.
I hope so. No,
How much are we compromising?
I know.
I don't think you've compromised much.
Aesthetics.
We still get an office.
That's what we've done.
You get an office, but when Ross is done, you're not gonna have air conditioning.
I guess I'm shocked that we
It'll be a crank for the window.
parking.
Yeah.
No, we're not giving.
One turn for 5 degrees, 2 turns for 10 degrees.
That disturbs me greatly.
Parking?
Yeah.
You know what it's like.
Yeah, well, that's why I asked for a number on that, so we can,
Hmm?
that's why I asked for the number on
Yeah,
that, so we can.
yes. But I don't know if the
Yeah.
town will go for it.
No, but it may be the number one subbid.
I didn't send it back.
You know, the number one alternate bid,
No?
alternate request.
So is there other money available in town for the entrance? Or the, I mean,
We could make it historic.
Chapter 90?
Yeah, under the
yeah.
How about chapter 90?
TCP.
Yeah, I wish, that would be a stretch.
I mean, it depends
Well, there's 2
on
different
what.
funds.
PCA.
CPC and
CPA.
PCP.
If you guys are selling PCP down here, we got plenty of money in this job.
I wish it were, that'd be a big stretch. You know, it feels like the piece that's, that the whole thing's missing. I mean, it's gonna be cramped, the parking's gonna be
Well,
tricky.
can't we tie it
the
into
flow's
like
gonna be
an
crazy.
entrance into the existing school building? Can't
Well,
we-
let's see if we can get it.
No, but what I'm saying is if we call this one project into a historical building, can we then use some?
I mean, the only guideline we have to meet for safety, because the entrance right now is not open to the public.
I know,
These vehicles
We're not
only.
required to go before the planning board.
Well, I'll get you there.
We're not.
When, I mean, we're gonna have to open it up to the public so that they can go in to go to the police.
You're gonna be
station.
able to get into the public to go to the police station.
Hmm?
You'll be able to get in there.
Right now, yeah, but, I mean, how, it's, the chief knows as well as I do, coming out of here, when they're in a hurry.
Listen, I'm not gonna pretend that this is an A-plus situation. It's not.
I think we should get them, see what else we can do with the
The
numbers,
numbers.
see what that cost is, and we'll see where we're at. I'm not happy, but I'm not feeling that we're at the point where we definitely said this is what we are on to. We gotta see what see what happens with this, we'll see what the rest of it is, and then we can make those decisions about what we want as the number one
I
alternate.
know I was
number
late
two
to the
alternate.
meeting, but this would have, to be a two-way road, this would have to be widened.
It was in the original.
I know, but
I think we'll cut some of that out. There's plenty more.
I'm not, listen, I'm trying to get it so you build in a police station. Okay?
But then we won't be able to open it.
That's a different story.
Yeah.
The town meeting will give you the funds if we get it done, and we can't get to it. All kidding aside, I think we've got some tough decisions to make coming forward. I haven't got all the information for you to make those decisions. I know this much. We cut a lot out of it without sacrificing anything but a little aesthetics and some parking.
That's a major thing.
I understand it's a major thing, but right now, if we put this out to bid as it is today, even with the cuts we've made, you don't have enough money to build it.
If we go over $3 million, we're not gonna be able to build it.
And that $3 million includes the architect, the OPM.
So we're trying to get it down to
Let's
two
see what our
point,
numbers are.
we're trying to get it to 2.3. What's the other 700,000 for out of the three that we're?
You've got architect at, I don't think he's 400, and the OPM's at 100. You've got testing we have to do, survey and geotech we have to do, and we got some FF&E money. We got a little bit of money here and there. Next
That's those
week,
numbers are
how,
big.
can I make a suggestion? How about next week, when we have the next meeting, okay? Which, again, I'm gonna recommend 2 weeks. All right, in 2 weeks, I'll come with all the alternate lists. I'll also come with the budget. All right, and what we've committed to and what's left, so you guys can get a comfort feeling as to where you want to spend it. Because you are the ultimate authority, the Board of Selectmen.
And, been an awful long.
And Ross, I welcome your critique of it.
I just think there's too many long runs and too large ductwork.
That's obvious without even reading it.
That's without even knowing.
Those runs are fresh air.
Yeah, I know.
Going to an ERV. We talked about taking fresh air out through the roof. And having a gooseneck out the back for fresh air. And I'm not ready to recommend a penetration in the roof.
I know. Super hesitant about that.
Yeah, so,
Is that what's important?
Ross, you gonna keep that
Want
one?
detail on this?
No, I want you to.
The town council.
Look the list.
I hope you have to leave all these.
I'd say it's,
We'll talk.
So Carrie wants part of it. Then you want the electrical out of it?
Yeah.
You don't need the electrical, right?
No, I don't want to.
So why are you opposed to that?
Do you think it's worth the time? Or are you doing this?
I am doing it, but, you know, as you said to me on the call, Dan, I love you, but I don't trust you, so I'm gonna do it myself. And what did I do? I sent you the drawings.
I don't think
So-
you quite said that. because
No, but
that
that's
sounds
how
like
I
you.
took it.
Yes, okay.
Listen, unfortunately, all we can do is make a recommendation to the designer. The designer seals it, he's the one that has to change it. He's been more than accommodating on every change we've requested so far. But I don't know, you know, I can't even tell you how he grimaced when we talked about the facades. He was just like you, right? They're not as intimate with the parking lot as you guys are. They are intimate with the building, and they're concerned about the building. But they know that you need a police station more than you need anything else.
I'm not really that concerned with some.
Look into it.
You're just doing that to get me.
Stuck up.
How about drive it? Drive it. EIFS. It's stucco, it's the fancy word.
Yeah, so, no.
Why, we can do colors. Pink,
I
light
think,
pink.
I'm good. Maybe some turquoise trim. Maybe we can add.
And you
we
can
add
go back to
LED.
town meeting and say, people are spending too much money going to Florida, so we brought Florida to you.
The Cancun restaurant here.
All right, a couple other things. We have minutes from last meeting. Does anybody have any amendments?
I was present. I wasn't listed as being present.
He wasn't last meeting.
So, Ross, will you add? The chief was here for last meeting.
Take what you need.
So I would move the minutes as amended.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
By the way, I do want to say this. I said to the actors, do you guys want to come down and present with me? And they said, no, you can yell at us. I was like, no, Dan, you do this one. Oh.
We also have an invoice from Context for $57,200. Our OPM said it's fine.
They have to keep going.
So motion to approve this bill for payment?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good. All right, next meeting would be November 8th
Then,
at 6 o'clock. Anything else? All right, motion to adjourn?
Second?
All in favor?